I can't wait to find out what map we're going to be going to, as we already find out that TLR wants first pick. So that means that, oh my wow, they're going to be taking us to map. And if I'm not mistaken, this was their map of choice? No, this was TLR's map of choice.
Yes. So to lose on a map that you picked is definitely a little bit of a rough thing to take. However, being able to then say, you know what, if we're not going to win on the maps we pick anyway, I might as well give it over and then get the hero that we highly prioritize. So I'm wondering what that's going to be. I'm wondering if we're still going to see the Yrel Genji ban come out extremely early and kind of just take all those off the table. Given that ETC was the first pick on the side of OMWS, I don't think there's anything necessarily that they're looking to immediately grab away that they were denied that first game. So giving first pick is a bit interesting to me.
Oh, and this is great. Yeah, we even get a little emote with it because we're gonna be going to Dragon Shire for game number 2, and OMWS taking us. Ooh, Dragon Shire is another macro intense map. You definitely gonna have that solo laner on top. That's really gonna be the big contest. They're gonna be left alone for quite some time, so you're really gonna need someone to be a solid solo laner, and then you'll have someone kind of in the mid area floating around, but mostly you have the rest of the team in that bottom contesting and fighting over that bottom shrine, and then it's just whoever can win out in the solo lane and top, to be honest.
Yeah, and I mean, given that we don't know like so terribly much about the comforts of these heroes, looking on that past game, you know, having that global, whether it's Dahaka or otherwise, being able to quickly go between those shrine points in order to set those up is extremely valuable. Jaina and Greymane, you have that excellent poke to come out for if you need to prevent your opponents from actually getting that dragon if they have both points. There's a lot of options here. I would honestly love to see the Gul'dan come out again, if I'm being entirely honest.
I
and that's more selfishly. Like, I think Gul'dan would, again, with that poke of both the, you know, defending on the shrines and the actual capture itself, being able to do that and really punish the opposing team if they think they can get that without dealing with Gul'dan first. So I would love to see that. Curious to see if we see another Alex Straza. Seems a bit more not so much her map in this way, but you know, you never know. Dragons on dragons.
I mean, a map like this, we often do see. This is a map where we have Tychus come out often, as well as Malthael. Two really great brawlers for that bottom lane. Great for the solo lane if you do want to go that route into maybe something that's we've often seen like Sonya into Malthael. That's kind of it. Really, I've seen so many arguments just like Sonya wins, Malthael wins. It's like it's down to the players. That's really what it comes down to. And you can say that with any solo lane matchup, but for that one, it's definitely. And then post 10, you have, you know, Malthael taking last rights and can really start to disrupt a lot of team fights. And even in the solo lane, make that Sonya kind of shaking her boots. But overall, I mean, you know, percentage-based damage into the Dragon Knights, it's a big thing. The Tychus has a lot of value here. The Commandeer Odin is a great tool for a team in either in an aggressive or even a defensive manner. And then once again, like you talked about it in the last draft, and I got to bring it up here. I think a Dahaka wouldn't be too far out of the ordinary in priority for this as well. I mean, in the past, Dahaka was first pick, first ban on this map sometimes.
Yeah, I was going to say as well, one of the fun things about vehicle maps is that there's one particular characters that I always find are fun to abuse with vehicle maps, and that being Cho'Gall. Given that Gall still has access to all his abilities, even if you're in the Dragon Knight. And so being able to take advantage of that, of just saying this big beefy dragon that already has a lot of damage still does additional damage right to your face if you're defending against it. So I'm wondering if we're going to see that come out from TLR. We did see, you know, some untraditional picks early on in the evening from them. Just depends on how comfortable they are with putting to chance the wacky play, because this is all they got left now, right? They have to tie this up or they're out.
For the evening, they'll be knocked down to the 4th place, and they will not be getting the prize money as well as that sweet 75 points. I looked it up earlier, and then I was just like,
and
so third place, and we forgot. It's 75 points for 3rd place, and 4th place will be taking 60 points. So it's a 15-point difference, but it matters. Every little bit matters. I keep harping on this, but like just looking back at phase 1, there had to be a tiebreaker game played for 8th place. Like that's a big deal in points. Like, and it was only at 170 points, I think, was the threshold for that. So definitely it really adds up, and it's something that everyone really needs to consider here, that, you know, taking that 3rd place can really change the outcome in the long run. Also, $100 between your team, it's not bad. That's a pizza for everyone, roughly.
That's a celebration right there.
Mm-hmm.
Hoping at least that you're all in the same vicinity to take advantage of it. Or you can do like some weird PayPal type of thing. Yeah, you fly everyone out for a pizza party. It's fun.
Well, yeah, you don't Skype all of your friends and pizza party with them consistently, don't you? Right? That's not a norm.
Man, you know, I've never done that, and now I'm really upset that I've never done that. Because that sounds like something I would totally do. I think
mostly it's mostly just like when we don't want to stop playing, like in the past when we didn't want to stop playing Team League, it was just like, let's order food and continue to play. So it was, yeah. But, you know, going into Dragon Shire, we talked about the global aspect. We talked about some of these percentage-based, you know, heroes that can do a ton of damage. But the things that we haven't touched on are, you know, some of those, you mentioned the Cho'Gall a little bit, but some of those wackier, I wouldn't say wackier heroes, but like things like Lost Vikings, things like Probius, for example, they're all viable things. We've seen, for example, when I cast in some of these in the Nexus Gaming series in the amateur division, they have, I think it's Gilly Shark. They play Samuro on this map, and I think I've seen it in Europe as well too. Like it's.
To be fair, Gilly Shark is just going to play Samuro whenever they can.
It's true. Stark's Samuro is terrifying, to be honest.
It is,
and I would never really want to go up against it. But we do have the members getting into this lobby. Thank you so much for waiting and hanging out with us. We really do appreciate it. And actually, while we kind of have you all here, we can talk a little bit about some of the things that are going on for the HeroesHype. We actually do have a Patreon at this time. So if you're ever interested in checking out or supporting the community, all the money goes back into the community. We just use it to help us run the events, and as well as, you know, prepare for things at BlizzCon, make that as well, you know, even better. But yeah, if you really are interested in help in donating or supporting the amateur scene, you can hit !Patreon in the Twitch chat, and I'll give you the link for that. You can check it out. There are tons of different tiers, a lot of cool stuff, really interesting. Definitely check that out, as well as subs to this channel. They go right back into the same pool. We use it for the funds for the BlizzCon party. We use it for the community. It all goes right back into everyone else, just to make this even better. So definitely check those things out if you're, you know, able to help out a little bit, or you want to just support the community. We really, really do appreciate it. And also, just once again, thank you for hanging out and watching the games.
Yeah, I mean, it's not always very common for folks just to pop in for a single matchup and then head out for the evening. So I know the teams really appreciate everyone and their support and cheering them on. You know, they've been competing since yesterday, not nonstop, mind you. We did give them a little bit of a break, but they started this yesterday and now they're here, and so I'm sure they're all stoked to see this after and to see you cheering. So make sure you cheer on these teams when they're playing and encourage them to do their best. So I know they're fighting for a lot. Like you said, the points do matter quite a bit. So there's a bit of pressure riding on the line here, cup to cup, week to week. And I think both these teams too. Last week didn't break through top 16. So I think this week specifically is really, really huge for them to be able to break in and say, we are here and we are getting some points and this is awesome.
And that's the other thing too, is we saw some teams like Queen's Gambit earlier in the phase. They were, I wouldn't say struggling, but it at least just, I didn't get to see any of the games because I don't think they were casted. I don't think they've been casted yet this phase, if I'm not mistaken. But just looking at the brackets, they've been taken out in the first couple cups very, very early. So it's interesting to see that some of these teams are showing up. And I wouldn't say that, you know, it's not no name people. Like I'm looking at the list right now, and I've been like, I've casted you on a different team, this person on a different team. I know this person plays in GM. So it's like you can see people and you kind of make connections, and you can start to see how these teams are being developed. And it's really, really awesome to see a lot of players come out from, you know, even just the GM scene or the Hero League scene, and then joining into teams and you know, working with them and progressing themselves, or even, you know, putting together a team and trying to grow from this. That's the big thing too. Even if you're, you know, you come in and you get bodied, you can go back and always watch the VODs and learn a lot from it. which also just the last little plug that I'll do is if you are interested in joining into the Open Division and checking out the games and, you know, trying to get your team and play in this, you can check that out at HeroesHype.com. There's all of the signups for every single cup I do believe is available for EU and NA. So definitely look into those because it's fun. Like I love casting it, and I know some people that are playing in it, and they said that they have a blast doing it and they're learning quite a bit.
I think my favorite part that I've noticed just from my experience over the past few months with casting is how much the teams also support each other. Because we see it a lot in the pro HGC teams when there's a lot of friendly banter before a match, and then afterwards they're all supportive, and it seemingly trickles down to maybe not all, but a lot of these teams here. You know, before this week even started, there was lots of, you know, good luck, hope you play well, hope that we get to face off conversations. So lots of teams, you know, making connections here, and they run into each other a lot in different leagues as well. And it's great to see that type of camaraderie week to week come out. Really good sportsmanship or all around for everyone. Good job being good, teams. And nice. And being nice.
And being nice. Yeah, it's just good sportsmanship. The other thing too is a lot of these teams, you know, they end up becoming scrim partners, or they, you know, they trade ideas, or you know, they just become friends that play the game together. So it's definitely stuff that, you know, I don't know. I put myself into the Heroes community to try and do exactly that and grow and meet people, and it honestly hasn't been too hard. It's just going out and just like, people want to talk about Heroes of the Storm all the time. It's just be open-minded with them. Don't tell them that Kael'thas doesn't have wave clear on Tomb of the Spider Queen, because then I just don't want to talk to you anymore.
Listen, there are dozens of us who want to talk about this game every day. So getting to the draft, we're getting an immediate Abathur ban from TLR. Is there something I'm missing here?
It doesn't look like they don't want to deal with it. I mean, it wasn't the biggest thing for them, but at the end, it did clean up house.
I guess Abathur first ban on Dragon Shire is really the question, but whatever works. They are able to pick up that Urel first pick, and maybe that's what they wanted in giving away the map choice over to OMWS, who is going to get the ninja himself, Genji.
I think this is the first time in Cup 3 that I've seen Genji outside of a banned circle, and I'm so excited about this. We also get the Dahaka, so that was one of the things that we talked about beforehand while we were loading into this, while we were getting the lobby ready. The priority onto the global, being able to play that solo lane. Now, the thing is,
who wins? Dahaka or Urel?
I have seen so many Rel solo lane matchups. Blaze used to be considered like the worst thing to go into in the solo lane because he's got sustain, he's got poke, he's just annoying, he's got an out, he's just got armor, he doesn't die. Now that's Urel. Everyone says that about Urel. I've seen Urel's body blazes, Dahakas, Malthiels. Like it doesn't matter. I'm so curious as to see if this is maybe, is it player versus player, or if the Urel is going to be dominating that lane. Either way, progressing further into this draft, they are going to be, I kind of like the idea of TLR just grabbing their main tank as well as their healer and just kind of locking those two in, and then they can kind of flex on the rest of their draft if they don't have a high priority into the Genji or the Dahaka just yet.
Yeah, I think the easiest thing to choke out currently in the game are actually those warriors and supports, because there's really only about 4 supports that we see pretty regularly, maybe 5 now that we're seeing a lot of Rhaegar come up as well. But in terms of warriors, your main priorities these days are that Garrosh, and I'm totally blanking on the rest of it.
Well, I mean, Diablo's a big one that we see here too.
Diablo's a big one coming back up, yes, for sure. And so there's like a handful there that, you know, if those get banned out and your opponent already has their tank, you're left with only a handful of options. And some of them are a little bit harder to work with than others. I do like the Deckard pick up. The Jaina, you know, she's good. I would have preferred the tank that you said, but Jaina's also good.
I have an idea. With this. I'm wondering if you lean into the Phoenix. Phoenix, I think, is really, really strong. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of great poke, especially if you go into the Arsenal. Oh, I'm drawing a blank on the level 1, but it's basically it buffs your splash damage after 3 autos from your single target damage onto a hero. And the cold and slow from Jaina if they go into the Diablo with the lightning breath, that's double, slows and colds, and then you have a root and a slow from Deckard, you grab the Phoenix and you go Purification Salvo and you burst the crap out of these people. Meanwhile, Yrel is just Goombaing everyone who's trying to get away, and then she has the consistent resets on that at the level 7, if I'm not mistaken. So that's personally what I would like to see from the map, from the draft of TLR, but we still have to look at OMWS draft here, and they're going to need a main support, they're going to need a main tank, and they're going to need some sort of other damage.
Pulling out the
ETC once
ETC again, and taking away the Greymane from their opponents that we saw last game.
I like this. I really do like this.
That's a lot of dive with that Genji Greymane. I'm wondering if they end up going the Uther route for support on this? With that good old shield?
So I actually 100% agree with that. You have Divine Shield, Divine Dragon Blade, Divine Mosh, Divine Greymane. That absolutely.
You have so many holy options. You have a holy
so
ninja,
many
or
holy
holy
boys.
cow, or so. Yeah, he's just got some holy boys here. You have all these holy boys, and they're so sweet. So yeah, Uther dropped off a lot, but every once in a while comes back in.
On the note of the Greymane, though, I actually wonder if that might have been a steal from the members of TLR. OMWS might have taken away what they were looking for, because the Jaina and the Greymane, that's a great combination. Greymane gets a lot of benefit from the Jaina into the later half here, but that's going to be the Johanna instead of the Diablo, but you have that Phoenix, so you'll have the slow from Johanna. You'll still have the slow from Deckard, you have a slow from Yrel, you have a slow from Jaina. Phoenix is going to get a huge amount of burst with Purification Salvo at this point. I cannot wait to see that unfold. But this last pick, CatPeach, what do we get?
What
it's
support?
Gonna be the support.
If it's not Uther, then who is the question? We still have Rhaegar up.
Lily. That's
Lily blinds?
No,
blinds against blinds?
No way. Because they don't need it. I'm just like, what's the worst thing I can suggest?
Little panda. Don't think we're gonna see.
I don't hate the
Strasza or Lucio. We're not gonna see. Maybe the Malfurion. It is the Rhaegar. I can get down with these two pups.
I like the Ancestor Healing if you do, potentially someone gets close to that blow up range. But the thing is, like, Ancestor Healing, that's something you really got to be aware of, getting that R button on the right person at the right time, and it's a hard hit, to be honest. And
I think I would, now that I said it, I think the Malfurion would have been good.
I like the Malfurion too. I think it pairs well into the ETC Dahaka Greymane, and it sets up a lot for Genji and Greymane here. Either way, I think the Uther or the Malfurion would have been great. Stukov, I think is great on this map, and I think some of the slows and some of the chase that you could have got with him would have been great. But overall, the Rhaegar, we'll have to see how it kind of plays out here.
Is it Bloodlust? I think we're required to ask.
I mean, didn't Dignitas ran Bloodlust this past weekend in Europe? Didn't they? I'm pretty sure that Dignitas ran Bloodlust in the HGC European Division. I'm like 90% sure of it, because I remember seeing it, or like I think I was playing a game and I heard the Bloodlust go off. I'm like, that's a pro game Bloodlust. Like
Bloodlust is back, baby.
Solid Jake is happy somewhere, but let's go ahead and get ourselves into this game number 2. Let's find out if OMWS can end the series and take the 3rd place. On the left-hand side, we'll have Saint Germain on that Rhaegar. Player will be playing the Dahaka. Heiyun will be on that Genji. Thanlong on the ETC, and Titan's King will be on the Greymane.
And on the right, hoping to tie up and keep this series going, we will have TLR. We're going to have Fats on Johanna, Jeb Taco Bitos on Phoenix, Free PX on Jaina, plus Ultra on Yrel, and Legacy on Deckard Cain.
All right, let's go ahead and get into this game number 2. We have all 5 members going into this mid lane. Everyone's setting up for the brawl. Nothing too out of the ordinary. We are going to be having that level 1 Arsenal synergy. Thank you, Kaleo, in chat for letting me know about that. But hey, I'm getting so low, gonna have to get out with the leap there. But overall, no kills just yet. Wave 2 are going to be going out, and we're going to be seeing rotations into the solo lanes.
Yeah, I'm curious what this Yrel matchup ends up being and how Dahaka fares. The one thing Dahaka can do against Yrel, and I heard some people talking about this earlier today, so definitely not an original idea on my part here. Allowing Yrel to push her lane a bit, get her closer to those towers, land the tongue on her, pull her into your towers. and get damage that way. She's going to have to scare off at some point. She's not going to want to engage too much at that range. And so if you can safely kind of keep the lane there, yes, not the greatest position overall to be in, but you can make sure Urel's not getting you know, more experience than she would be if you were trying to keep her pushed back evenly. So it's an idea there. We're gonna have to see if Dahaka ends up going for it, but right now camp pressure being taken at the exact same time for our teams right before these shrines activate.
We do have that in that top lane. We have just that ever-long battle between the two solo lanes. But Greyman going to be going ahead and grabbing this camp on the left-hand side with the help of Saint Germain, and looks like Phoenix and Decker will be doing the same thing on the right. So simultaneous camps going to be grabbed across the map for both teams. They'll have to clear out them probably in the same way. But at this point, we do have bottom being contested between the Jaina and the ETC. Top is being left alone for now. We'll see that. Actually, we have the Greyman going up with the Dahaka, so I'm wondering if they're going to be trying to get a gank on this Urel. She probably knows that they're there, so just going to be playing it safe. They have the channel available, but Joanna will be in mid to go ahead and at least counter anyone from getting in the Dragon Knight anytime soon, but Burrow will be coming out from the Dahaka now.
Yeah, lots of pressure going on in that bot lane. I'm glad that OMWS was able to get control of that early on, because if you threw your L into that bottom lane, you know, perhaps you'd be able to hold that a bit better with team support to be able to control that bottom camp there. But first Dragon Knight, very quickly, may I add, going to OMWS and pushing through the mid lane, trying to get these gates down. Again, we're probably not going to see too much of an experience spike, given that difference in experience between structures at this point, but still prepping it for future pushes. Given that the Dragon Knight isn't that strong at this point either, I think that's a great use of time, is simply getting as much damage done to those gates so that those really, you know, later game dragons end up getting way more value than they would now.
Typically what we see is a lot of teams prioritizing the bottom and the top to go ahead and take out that well, and having that sustain taken away from the lanes where you need to hold over the two altars. That's the big play that we often see, but taking out that mid is exactly that. You make that retreat path a lot further. The one thing I do want to say also is Player had an awesome tongue on the Dahaka onto Fats there right before Saint Germain got into the Dragon Knight, and it actually denied Fats from getting the shield glare out to deny the capture, but Fats is going to get bodied here as the team collapses, and that is going to be first kill of the game going over to OMWS. Mushinderu.
Mushinderu, saying that those players are in fact very, very dead, and I like it. Bottom camping picked up here by Saint Germain and Titans King, hoping to push that bot lane a bit more now that they have 3 resources in there. Still the eternal struggle going on in that top lane, as well as Player and Plus Ultra exchange blows. So no one's real big win. Both have enough self-sustain to get through all of that. And with all camps off the board, it's push, push, push now. We have to see how much OMWS wants to take advantage of that level 7 talent that they have.
Power slide going out from Fanlong. The Iron Skin is used from the Joanna as well, so they continue to hold down this bottom lane. They're starting to pressure into this, and I really like the play that they're not really letting up in this bottom lane. They continue just to let, you know, just have this pressure on them. They will go ahead and grab the siege camp, not going for the aggressive side. I wonder if they'll go for the invade, but it looks like we have the Phoenix and the Decker Kane doing the exact same thing on the other side. Fanlong scouting it out. They will have that vision available for them, but I don't think this is a good idea. The power slide is not available. Oh, there it is. Okay. I was like, he didn't power slide in, did he? But yeah, they'll be able to get out just fine. Plus Ultra going to be maybe going for a flank here. A little bit of damage going on to Heiyun on that Genji. Doesn't look like any kills are happening just yet, but we do have the shrines activating in the next 20 seconds, CatPeach.
And to just make a note of, Divine Steed taken up from Urel at 7, so she's going to be a bit quicker to rotate into these fights if need be, so being able to go between these lanes, give that to Haka a bit of a run for their money, go back into mid, soak, help with the team fight, so definitely watching out for those really fast rotations that TLR has been showing that they love to do. They love to stay on top of that macro pressure, so just going to simply add to that.
We're going to have the knockback from the ETC. We have Titans King taking a bunch of damage. The blind will be coming out from Fats. The Iron Skin's going to be used as well. Fanlong going to be power sliding in. No tens yet. There's no mosh pit, but Jaina will be falling regardless, as Fats is going to get body blocked by a couple members. They're going to need to back off here. Urel has the potential for the Dragon Knight, going to be captured on this bottom, actually, so not going to be happening just yet, but Legacy falling so low. That will be the Genji dying as well. Iron Skin going to be popped by Joanna, so the trade 2 for 1 here. So Genji for the Jaina and the Deckard. But the thing is, they have no availability to get into the top lane just yet, as players will be missing the tongue there. Plus Ultra trying to fight these members. That's going to get the blind out, and so low. It doesn't look like they're going to be getting any kills just yet, but 10's just on the cusp for the members of OWMS.
Yeah, with 10 on the cusp, they will be able to eventually rotate and get that top lane, or even push this bottom lane even more than they already have. So we're going to have to see what they want to do. Players starting to slowly make their way up there, help clear that lane out a bit. I love that that OMWS was able to capture that point back simply by elongating that team fight for a bit longer, and then just nudging the players of TLR out for a bit. I was actually very confused when the channel went even for a while, so sometimes it is worth fighting on the point, other than what some of your teammates may say. So, you know, take these lessons, bring them into your yearly games. Get those shrine points when you're in the middle of a team fight.
We currently have Hayun trying to just distract them long enough, and actually Plus Ultra will not be getting the hit, so that will be Dragonite picked up once again by St. Germain. 2 Dragonites in a row for the members of OMWS, as Plus Ultra getting a little bit low here, getting chased by Hayun and a couple friends. Titans King maybe looking for that little bit of dive, but actually it's going to be going out onto Fats. Water Elemental coming out from Jaina, and it looks like they make the disengage, they get that out, but the thing is, Dragonite in bottom lane. This is what we discussed right at the end of the last one. Pressuring this bottom lane, taking this fort as well as the well, and not allowing them to have any sort of pressure in that bottom lane during the Dragonite altar phase, but that will also be Yrel falling in the top lane to the Dahaka and the Genji.
Yeah, taking this fort is a great opportunity for OMWS later in the game to just keep pressure on this bottom, to really control this shrine point as well. So TLR having to play a lot of catch up. They're going to go see what they can do about this Genji clearing in the mid lane. Dahaka simply soaking up top, trying to get them closer to 13 as soon as possible while this Dragonite continues to barrel forward. With 5 seconds left though, not too much value they're going to get out of that, so they're going to back up, let it expire, and start making pressure elsewhere. They have that camp available. Bot lane's pushed out to a glorious degree in their favor, so OMWS dominating this map currently so far this game.
I'm liking it. They're coming out in this game in comparison to the last, and I'd say in the last game there was a back and forth between the two, but OMWS in this game is not letting up whatsoever. Now this camp is being invaded at this time, 12 to 11. They need to take this fight before 13 is achieved. Player trying to get in for the flank here, but it's being denied completely by Legacy and Jeb here, but Thanlong going to be getting the power slide in. The Mosh Pit is available, not going to be utilizing it just yet. The Blessed Shield will be coming out from the Joanna. Titans King going to be going ahead and getting a little bit of damage and a swipe into one of the members, but overall, no kill just yet, as Plus Ultra will be trying to slow them down as this camp works on this top fort.
Like you mentioned, it was a bit risky going for that invade, but TLR had to make something happen before their opponents got 13, so camp invade goes well. They don't try to go for the kills necessarily. Simply denying the camp is enough for them, and Yrel just showing how much that she's able to push their opponents out of that range with that swipe and really stun them, slow them, and get them out of that range. So great rotation by TLR picking that up. We're going to have to see if they're able to create overall map pressure. They still have an entire level and some change before 13 themselves, so they've got to clean up that bottom lane. They've got to get the map in a favorable, if not simply even position, before these shrines actually end up activating.
They'll grab this camp, pressure to the bottom. Dahaka has clear into the mid. It's 13 to 12. They need this before they can really go into that, and I'm just not sure if they can achieve it quick enough. It's a whole level that they need to get, and they have the majority of their team in bottom, and they're really not separating from this 4-member rotation. Phoenix a little bit further out in that mid lane, just trying to speed up that soak, but the next shrine will be activating in 5 seconds. A little bit of a brawl between Player and Plus Ultra. Gonna get that gate down finally with the minion wave, but once again, Player looking for that tongue, as you mentioned earlier in this game here, just getting that tongue, pulling the Yrel into tower shots, and just having the tower shots slow and body her while the Dahaka gets the autos off. But St. Germain gets the cap in bottom, while Player is getting harassed by Phoenix and Yrel, but Hayun gonna be coming up to help out.
Yeah, Player trying to stall. Genji finally being able to help out there. The teleport was already used by Phoenix, ends up going down in the power slide to ensure that Yrel follows. And this is a channel now available for OMWS. There is a fight here going down in the mid lane. It's 3 versus 3, but 4 coming in as well. Silence goes out. Dragon Blade coming out onto 3PX, and they end up going down. Decker Kane to follow, and Fat as a third. Dragon Blade value cleaned up. 5-person wipe on the side of TLR, and OMWS going to barrel down mid and hopefully get a keep. Maybe they can get some more, maybe they got some less. It's hard to say at this point. They are going to rotate bottom and continue to push this. Timer's already running out for the members of TLR, so they're going to be back up to defend this, so perhaps keep not so much, but still getting immense value, getting level 16s on this Dragon.
16 to 13. This is huge. A 3-level difference, a talent tier on top of that as well. The Dragonite with 87% on it. It's so difficult to deal with at this point. Jaina getting a lot of good poke damage. The Iron Skin will come out. That is really, really good timing there, making sure that they don't get kicked away and able to have Fat still pushing into the enemy team at this time. But it looks like the Dragonite will be wailing on this bottom keep, opening this up. They don't have the fight just yet as the Dahaka, once they leave that Dragonite, look to see the big blow up in the fight here. Overall, they're just focusing on burning this down. That will be happening. Catapult pressure will be down there. Dragonite just ending in time. Purification Salve will be coming out at this time. Gonna get a huge mosh into a couple members, and it actually will be slowing this down so much. They get the burn onto the Phoenix. That will be free PX falling as well. Legacy and Fats are left alive, but there's a ton on the Plus Ultra separating them from the team. So much damage is going to be going on. It looks like the absorption will be coming out as well. Tongue pulling them right back in. Decker King going to be falling as well. Plus Ultra, the only one going to be alive for a second, and it's going to be falling. The GGs are already called out as we lose the Joanna, and it looks like they set their sights on the core. OMWS is going to take game number 2 in a decisive fashion.
That last fight, I was expecting, so Ancestral Healing was used during that push with the Dragonite, so I thought you don't have Ancestral, you back up as the score finally falls. Oh my wow, though, turning around and saying, we don't have Dragon Blade, we don't have Dragon Blade and we don't have Ancestral, but we're going to turn around and power slide into you anyway. The beautiful mosh pit to instantly stun the members of TLR ends up solidifying that final push. It was glorious. It was well done. So GGs to both sides. They were quite the opponents against each other. Lots of back and forth and a lot of those team fights in both games. So TLR, even though they didn't get a win here, definitely a very good showing, and I expect to see them do really good things next week based on their performance this week.
I gotta say, these teams, from game 1 to game 2, in comparison, it's like they woke up or they were back from their break or something. Like 8-8 in the first game, the structures were close. They almost lost game 1 to TLR. OMWS ended up getting that death mosh onto 2 in the first game, and then took it and then ran down bottom and won it that way. And I was like, all right, well, I wonder how TLR will come back this game, because that game was, I won't say a decisive win, but it definitely was one of those situations where they had an opportunity to take a win, and they definitely went that avenue. And I was wondering, I was like, are they going to come back just as strong this game? And no, they came back way stronger than I even could have imagined. That Genji doing so much damage, just the mobility from Genji and Heiun on that hero is honestly terrifying. It was really great to watch, and these teams really did an amazing job tonight. And I'm glad to see that we're going to be having OMWS going to be taking 3rd place and TLR going to be taking 4th.
Yeah, that dive between the Genji and the Greymane was just so much. And even a bit of dive there from the Rhaegar as well. You can't forget that lunge that Rhaegar brings to the table. But just being able to shred through that Deckard and that Jaina and that Phoenix, on top of being able to stun Phoenix out of those teleports every once in a while and make sure that they can't go away. Just beautiful play overall. You love to see it. You love to see it.
It's in the productions chat. And just really quickly, because they were pointing it out as well, the interrupts on Deckard.
Yes.
Oh
so beautiful.
I saw the sleep, like the animation come out of over his head, and I was like, ooh. And then it was just like, nope, not going to be happening. You're not going to be putting anyone to sleep. No story time right now. How about you go take a nap?
I don't want
yourself.
a story, Grandpa. Smack. Yeah, that was a beautiful timing, because a little too late, and that's ETC asleep, but perfect timing. You're able to stun Deckard out of that. Beautiful timing there on the side of OMWS. So absolutely great play. Ended up, I think, probably solidifying that final fight overall.
Oh, absolutely. But that means that it's going to be wrapping it up for us. That is going to be the end of Cup number 3 for the Open Division for the North American region, at least. Europe's already done. That was earlier this morning. I don't know what I was thinking. But before I let you go, CatPeach, where can people find you? What are you up to?
Yeah, so you can find me on the internets over on Twitch and Twitter at CatPeachGG. I'll be casting here every once in a while for Open Division. Do casting for the Nexus Gaming Series. I do some other work here as well for the friends over at HeroesHype. So I'm around in the neighborhood, in the Discords and things, so you can find me there. For the good folks at home, Bahamut, where can these lovely people in chat find you outside this game?
I am much like you. I'm casting the Open Division here for HeroesHype when the availability is presented to me, or when I'm allowed to, I guess is probably a better word. But I also do casting for the Nexus Gaming Series. I do some Hero League streams where I'm trying to grow and grind a little bit myself. You can check all that out on Bahamut Gaming on Twitter, YouTube, as well as Twitch. But yeah, that will be wrapping it up for us here on the HeroesHype channel. Thank you all so much for coming by and supporting the stream. We really do also appreciate the host over from Kala and Solid Jake from the mainstream. We thank you guys for coming by and checking out the end of the stream and watching this fourth place matchup happen. But yeah, that wraps it up for Cup number 3. We will be back next week on Monday with Europe and North America. And I'm excited to see how those go. And, you know, that'll be Cup number 4. We're kind of getting to that midway mark, and we're going to really start to see who's going to be coming out on top. But that's going to be it for us here on the HeroesHype channel. Thank you so much for coming by, and we'll see you guys next time.